So the other day I came across this article about Scarlett Johansson where she was talking about how she was groomed by Hollywood into the bombshell roles that she got most of her career. Now, when I was reading this article, I was shocked to come across some quotes that she has made about Woody Allen, and it led me into this deep dive into all of these celebrities and people who are extremely talented, extremely well known, have made names for themselves, that are in support of Woody Allen. So today I'm going to be talking about the whole thing with Scarlett Johansson and what she was talking about, and then I'm going to get into the Woody Allen stuff, her support for him, and the allegations that are against him for those of you that may not know about it, because it's horrific what he's been accused of and the evidence against him, and people still support him. It blows my mind. Essentially, Scarlett Johansson came across as being very mature for her age when she was a child actress. So she was a teenager and she was being treated as if she was not, and this led her to being hypersexualized.
What am I like in high school? Well, I'm an average student. B's and C's.
The director ordered us to hang out. He was like, yeah, you and Scarlett should really, get together. So we're like, okay. She's pretty mature, she's from New York, which means she's an adult at the age of 3, so.
Somebody who's a teenager, they're still in a very important developmental stage of their childhood. I remember being 16, 17, 18 years old, and I was definitely still a child mentally. You have a lot of growing up that you still have to do, but she was perceived to be older than she actually was. Scarlett said, because I think everybody thought I was older and I'd been acting for a long time, and then I kind of got pigeonholed into this weird hypersexualized thing. It was like, that's the kind of career you have. These are the roles you've played. And I was like, this is it, I guess. It's extremely common in Hollywood to get typecasted. If you're a comedian, you get roles in comedies. If you're somebody who has done rom-coms, you get stuck in rom-coms. You'll see basically the same actor playing the same type of character repeatedly. I don't remember this actor's name, but there's this one actor where he always plays a writer in every movie he's in. That's kind of what she got stuck into for a while and had to dig herself out of. There's definitely some things that Scarlett has experienced in her career, as well as other actresses, but we're specifically talking about her in this one, where the way she was treated was horrible. There is this clip that I have seen where she was on a red carpet and the person that is interviewing her literally grabs her chest. He just straight up reaches over and grabs. He assaulted her on camera.
There we go. Here we go. It's a little slow-mo.
Look at
that. I mean, you can't. Why? Why?
He's so hands-on. You know why? Because he's gay. He's allowed to do that, Ryan.
Because he's gay. Because
if straight men, for instance, if you did that, you'd get slapped. But we encourage it with gay men.
The things that people in Hollywood have gotten away with and continue to get away with to this day is astounding. The way she was treated was just, ugh, I'm not a fan of it. Now, when Scarlett was only 9 years old, that is when she began acting as John Ritter's daughter in the movie North.
It's so great having you here, North. I've always wanted a brother to throw to.
Yeah, and now I have 2 big brothers to look out for me.
Now, she would go on to get minor roles before she got wider attention for her performance in The Horse Whisperer, where she co-starred Robert Redford.
The truck started to skid. And there was no time to do anything. It ran right into Judith.
Now, Robert actually described her as 13 going on 30 after he did this film with her, and there were many other comments that were made about her maturity level by other people in the industry. She'd actually be quoted saying that it was hard to find roles as a teenager because adults wrote the scripts and they portrayed kids and teenagers like mall rats without any real depth. Now then, in 2003, she was 17 years old and she played the role of Charlotte in Lost in Translation, and this is a little bit problematic because her love interest was Bill Murray, who was in his 50s, and she was only 17 years old. Also, at the beginning of the film, it shows her in see-through underwear.
The opening shot of the film is my, my beautiful backside in sheer pink underwear, and I was very sort of nervous. Thank you. I was really
We love cinema! Yay!
I was really nervous about doing it, so Sophia said, "Oh well," I said I don't want to wear the underwear, and she said, "Fine, I'll try the underwear on, and if you still, if you can't stand it, then of course you don't have to do it." And that was kind of nice, as opposed to I don't know, Bob Redford putting on sheer pink underwear.
Stuff happens a lot with people who are under the age of 18. They can't even legally buy cigarettes. They can't drink, nothing like that. But they can for sure be naked on screen and making out with somebody that could be their grandfather. Now let's fast forward to when she did some films with Woody Allen. So she first began working on Woody Allen films when she was a teenager, and the first movie that she was in of his was Match Point, which was released in 2005. This is where she played the character of Enola, who was an aspiring actress that began an affair with a married man.
I moved back into town.
I didn't know you'd left town.
Yeah, I was really upset about everything that happened, so I just went back to America to look for a job.
Now, Woody actually made a disgusting quote about her from that movie that I'm going to read you guys right now. Woody Allen was quoted commenting on her from that film saying, "She was only 19 years old when she did Match Point, but it was all there. An exciting actress, a natural movie star, real intelligence, quick and funny, and when you meet her, you have to fight your way through the pheromones. Not only was she gifted and beautiful, but sexually, she was radioactive." An old ass man commenting like that about a teenager is disgusting, and that's not the only types of things that he has been quoted saying either, but that's just specifically about her. She would go on to be in his film Scoop and also Vicky Cristina Barcelona. Now, Scarlett Johansson has been involved in some other controversies apart from Woody Allen that I just want to mention a little bit. One of them is her character in the film Ghost in the Shell, where she was accused of whitewashing, and then she also gave up a role where she was cast in called Rub and Tug, where she was going to play a transgender character, but then she did later come out and apologize for comments that she had made about her role in Rub and Tug. Now, the thing that I find extremely disturbing is that after these allegations came out against Woody Allen, and yes, some of them were just allegations, but there are things that are proven that he actually said and he actually did. But with the allegations that came out against him, she literally said that she still supports him. And not only does she support him, but she's met up with him numerous times, sees him whenever she can, and has had conversations about the allegations against him specifically, and that she believes him. She stated, "I see Woody whenever I can, and I have had a lot of conversations with him about it. I have been very direct with him, and he's very direct with me. He maintains his innocence, and I believe him." She publicly supports somebody who has horrific allegations of SA against him, not only the things that are proven, which we're going to go ahead and give you guys a little refresher on all of that if you are not aware of the stuff against Woody Allen, because it's awful, and he continues to be talked about and praised for his films and his movies by not only famous people, but people who are just everyday people who are fans of his movies. So it was in 1980 when Woody Allen had began a relationship with Mia Farrow, and despite never marrying, they were a couple for 12 years, and he even had her star in 13 of his films. And throughout their entire relationship, they maintained separate living environments. So I'm sure some people do that, maybe some people watching do that, but it is a very strange and uncommon thing for somebody who's been in a relationship for 12 years to not want to live together. It's just a really weird situation. Like, you don't want to sleep in their room, you don't want to be with them, you want your own space. I mean, I wouldn't think anything like this if this was just everyday people, but because of the fact that it's Woody Allen, these allegations against him, it makes it even more weird to me that he didn't even want to live with her for 12 years. Like, that's a long time. So at the time that the relationship began, she had 7 children. Now, 3 of these kids were her biological sons from her ex-husband. 3 of them were adopted girls and 1 adopted son. And then in 1985, she adopted another child by the name of Dylan Farrow. Now, the thing that was interesting was that whenever Dylan came into the picture, that's when Woody suddenly started spending more time at Mia's house and wanting to be around a lot more. And she felt like he was smothering Dylan, like he was around her too much. And she had caught some weird things, like her sucking on his fingers and really strange stuff that just, she was catching weird vibes about it, which I'm like, why did you continue to let her be around him then? I don't understand. Like, if I was feeling like my daughter would have like this weird relationship with a man, I would definitely take my daughter away from him, but she chose to continue to let her daughter be around Woody. They also had a therapist that he had spoken to that said that they had an inappropriate relationship, like him and Mia's adopted little girl. There was also another incident where Dylan locked herself in a bathroom for hours when Woody was coming over because she didn't want to see him. Like, what kid is going to do that unless they don't like you for something that you're doing? Now, Mia would later become pregnant with Woody's biological son and then later adopted another child. And then in December of 1991, Woody adopted 2 of her children, just 2. Dylan and Moses. That's it. Not the rest of them, which I found to be extremely bizarre. Now, when Dylan got older, she ended up accusing Woody of horrific SA. Like, there's this whole documentary about it.
I loved my father. I respected him. He was my hero. I was taken to a small attic crawl space in my mother's country house in Connecticut by my father. He instructed me to lay down on my stomach and play with my brother's toy train that was set up. And he sat behind me in the doorway. And as I played with the toy train, I was
Oh my God, like, it's hard stuff to listen to, I'm not gonna lie, and I believe her. I 100% believe her, and there are a lot of people that don't, but watch it for yourself. I believed everything that she was saying.
Is there any truth to that at all?
Look, be logical about this. I'm 57. Isn't it illogical that I'm going to, at the height of a very bitter, acrimonious custody fight, drive up to Connecticut where nobody likes me in the house. I'm with a house full of enemies. I mean, Mia was so enraged at me, and she had gotten all the kids to be angry at me, that I'm going to drive up there and suddenly, on visitation, pick this moment in my life to become a child molester. It's just incredible. I could, if I wanted to be a child molester, I had many opportunities in the past. I could have quietly made a custody settlement with Mia in some way and done it in the future. I mean, you know, it's so insane.
A lot of people believe that she was brainwashed or coerced by Mia to say these things.
And what I don't understand is, how is this crazy story of me being brainwashed and coached more believable than what I'm saying about being by my father?
Because your mother was very angry, so that she would try to coach you and try to get you to turn against your father.
Except every step of the way, my mother has only encouraged me to tell the truth. She's never coached me.
Let's look at the things that are factual, okay? Let's talk about Soon-Yi. Now, Soon-Yi Previn was born in 1970 in South Korea, and then she was later adopted by Mia Farrow in 1978. That would make her 10 years old when she met Woody. Like, when Woody came into the picture, Soon-Yi was 10. In 1992, Mia was at Woody's place where he lived, his apartment or house or whatever, and she came across naked photos of Soon-Yi in his house. That's when he confessed that the photos were taken 2 weeks after they had sex for the first time. So he was being intimate with Mia Farrow's daughter that he met and took care of when she was 10 years old. Now, Soon-Yi would come out and say that he wasn't a fatherly figure to her, that she was never taken care of by him. But I mean, if he's around and you're 10, like, you know, there's interaction going on there. It's not like they never spoke. She needed a glass of water or something. I don't know. There's incidents where you know that he had to have been taking care of her in some way. And either way, shape, or form, whether he did or didn't, he met her when she was 10 and was dating her mom like that. And it gets worse. The two of them went on to get married in 1997 when she was 26 years old and he was 61. They are still married today with 2 adopted children, which Woody should not be around kids ever under any circumstances. He went and married one of them, so why are we putting kids around Woody? Somebody explain that to me. And then get this, it gets worse. In 2013, they were photographed on numerous occasions leaving Jeffrey Epstein's house after his guilty plea. Like, it was already public knowledge that he was guilty, and they were still going over there. I believe Woody, though. I believe Woody. And this isn't just about Scarlett Johansson showing public support to Woody. There are a lot of people that have shown support to him. I mean, you know, even Kate Winslet, and I love Kate Winslet. I was so disappointed to hear this. She was basically like, you know, when you hear allegations against somebody, you still gotta work with them. And it's just like, no, you don't. Like, there's so many other directors and people who are creative and amazing and talented that make wonderful movies that aren't him. Let me go over some things that Woody has been caught doing and has said. In the October 4th, 1976 issue of People magazine, he said, "I try to have sex with women I like a lot, otherwise I find it fairly mechanical. I'm open-minded about sex. I'm not a above approach. If anything, I'm below approach. I mean, if I was caught in a love nest with 15, 12-year-old girls tomorrow, people would think, yeah, I always knew that about him. Nothing I could come up with would surprise anyone. I admit it all. And then in 1993, Nancy Jo Sales of New York and Vanity Fair opened up about how she wrote to and received letters from Woody Allen when she was 13 years old. He asked her to write him back with weird questions. Like, a lot of them seemed very normal, like, what types of things do you like, stuff like that. But then he asked, are you into clothes, and where do you go to school? Like, when I read it, it came off like somebody who was talking to a kid that was trying to hide the fact that they were trying to figure out who they were and where they went to school. That's what it came across to me. Like, he wanted to know who this 13-year-old was, so he asked her a slew of questions, and then hidden in the middle of that, where do you go to school, so that he could, you know, try and find where she was. Like, it was literally creepy. Like, why are you sitting there and writing letters to a 13-year-old? And not only you're doing that, but you're asking them like a ton of questions, trying to like really get to know them. That is not normal behavior. Nobody can tell me that's normal behavior. And then there was a graphic CP joke that was in his play Honeymoon Hotel, where an older man runs off with his son's bride. There's also this list online that ranks all of his films from the biggest age gap, because the thing about Woody Allen films is that there's huge age gaps between the main characters, and I believe the number one was like 40 plus years. It was from the movie Whatever Works. It was a 41-year age difference between Larry David and Evan Rachel Wood.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
Yeah, you're 21 like I played for the Yankees.
There's literal fingers pointing at him saying, I am a predator, in his movies, in his scripts. And people still don't want to believe Dylan. He married his ex's 10-year-old daughter that he was around when she was 10. That's not normal. He wrote a letter to a 13-year-old little girl. That's not normal. Apparently, Blake Lively has shown support for Woody Allen, which she is an advocate for children. Blake Lively said, it's very dangerous to factor in things you don't know anything about. I could only know my experience, and my experience with Woody is he's empowering to women. I don't know if that was said after the allegations against him and stuff, but I think if it was, that's really disappointing, because she advocates for children and it doesn't make any sense. I think that there is enough evidence that points that he is just a bad person.
I would like to explain myself because this is not about me, but I wanted to sort of have this type of candor. I worked with Woody Allen. I did a film with him in 1996 called Everyone Says I Love You. There was no higher career calling card than to work with Woody Allen. And then I had children, and it changed me because I realized that I was one of the people who was basically gaslit into not looking at a narrative beyond what I was being told. And I see what's happening in the industry now.
Yeah.
And that is because of you making that brave choice. So thank you.
You guys are gonna have to let me know what you think in the comments down below. And here's your reminder, I have members content. Definitely make sure you guys check out my tiers. You get badges. You also get extra content that I don't post publicly. Make sure you guys take a peek through that. And also thank you guys so much to all of my new members, everybody that has joined. I really appreciate your guys' support to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. And I will be seeing you guys for my next one.